What's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Vibes it up in the backyard. Listen, a highly requested recipe. Pepper wings. Yes. No ER. Pat, can we buy an A? This is pepper wings because this is big people, fiery chicken wings. Stay tuned. You're going to love this one, man. Doi, doi. It's a scorching hot day here in southern Ontario. And if you are not aware of it, it gets pretty hot here. You know, a lot of people think Canada and they think freezing cold, but in the summertime it gets hot. It's about 40 degrees Celsius with the humidity. And I'm in the backyard, I'm picking some fresh thyme. Cannot do pepper wings without pepper. So I've got, this one here is a scorpion pepper. I won't be using much of this, but I've also got Scotch bonnet peppers here. And that is what I'm going to pick next. I'm going to grab a few of these yellow Scotch bonnet peppers. And in the summer months, I just love using this stuff fresh out of my garden. And this is all organic stuff. I, man, don't play around. If you've been watching my videos, you would have seen me harvest these garlic about a month ago or something. They're nice and ready to use now. So we're going to grab some garlic as well to get that deep, rich, peppery garlic herbal flavor into the chicken wings. We're gonna make a brine. I've got a pot here. You can do whatever it is, whatever container you have. That's cool. You'll need a whisk. So Mr. Whisk is coming out. We're gonna go in with cane sugar. I just love using cane sugar. If you have white sugar and you want to use white sugar, just granulated sugar, that's fine. Coarsely cracked black pepper. We've got that thyme from the backyard there. I'm just gonna rip that up and try and bruise it a little bit as you toss it into the pot there. We'll need a large amount, almost equal parts salt to sugar ratio, and that is sea salt that I have here. For the pepper element, we just pick the Scotch bonnet pepper from the backyard, and I'm going to go with 2 of them. Apologies for hitting the camera there. And I can't find onion, just regular onion in my fridge. For some reason I'm out of it, so I've got a large shallot here. But if you have just plain old onion, that will work as well. We're going to toss that into the mix, and the garlic from the backyard, smash into there, smash, smash, just smash it and toss it into the pot to pull it all together. By the way, I do apologize for the dirty kitchen. I made some steamed dumplings there earlier. To pull it all together, you need to give that a good mix. Then we're going to hit it with warm water. And the reason for using warm water is to help the sugar and the salt dissolve. And in whisking it, try to make sure you're smashing that Scotch bonnet pepper and everything just to release those flavors. Give it a good mix. And then you want to go in with about quadruple the amount of cold, ice cold water. Because we're not trying to put the raw chicken into something with warm water. So I can already smell that Scotch bonnet pepper there. Oi! It's gonna be a good time. In total, that was 3 liters of water. Just gonna mix that around because I'm making quite a bit of wings. And you'll see what I'm talking about now. In goes my wings, and these are split, so which means you got the flats and the drumettes. I got them over at the Costco. Just gonna dunk those in there. Now remember, when handling Scotch bonnet peppers and things like that of that spicy nature, you want to wear gloves and or wash your hands with soap and water immediately after. So with the wings in there now, all we gotta do is give that a stir. I'm gonna go with my hands. Just move that around. And that chicken, the salt's gonna pull the moisture out, and in pulling the moisture out, the other flavors will be able to go deep within the chicken. To ensure we have safe handling procedures for this brine, I'm gonna go in with some ice now. And that's gonna help drop the temperature further. You just want to make sure we're handling this safe. It is summertime, it is hot, it is about 40 degrees Celsius, I may have said that in the backyard. Now you want to put this into your fridge, put the lid on there, cling wrap, whatever it is, and let that sit in there for 2 hours. Only 2 hours. We don't need anything more than 2 hours, because then what's going to happen, the chicken is going to go salty on you at that point. We don't want that. They were in the brine for 2 hours. I removed them. If you wanted to give them a quick rinse, you certainly can, to remove most of that salt that we brined it in. I want that salt. I have it on a wire rack for the past half an hour to 45 minutes. If you put it in the fridge, it will want to air dry and take out most of that moisture. And that's what I'm doing with the paper towel here. We've got one more step before we start frying these. And what I like doing here, that's what the final step is, to hit it with cornstarch. That cornstarch is going to do a couple things. It's going to allow us to get a sort of a crispy exterior. Plus, later on when we do this sort of pepper sort of step, it's going to allow us to have that pepper oil, that garlicky pepper oil, and you'll see what I'm talking about, soak it into the skin of the chicken, and it's bite after bite after bite of just pure goodness. And all you would do is go in there and give it all a toss, just to sort of coat each piece. And it's going to be somewhat wet, but that's cool. That's cool. We ain't fretting too much about that at this point. Got my little frying station set up. So I've got the chicken here, tongs. I've got the wok that I'll be using to fry them, and I've got that wire rack on the baking sheet. Yes, I washed it. I know some of you thinking, wait, Chris, I even washed? No, behave. I washed it. It's sterilized. Time for some oil in that. I'm just using vegetable oil. Got my vegetable oil to just about 375, 380 degrees. And that is the perfect temperature for frying these chicken wings. And I'm just dumping them in there. And we've got that sizzle. Listen to that now. Hey, Uncle Chris know what he's doing. All I'm doing is every so often I'm just giving them a little stir in the pot here as they fry off. It will take a few minutes because we want these fully cooked all the way through. Though we'll be adding them back into in a pot later on, but for now we want these fully cooked. And you want to maintain that 375 sort of temperature on the oil as well too. It's been about 17 minutes and I'm taking them off now. They're fully cooked all the way through. And they will darken up as they cool down. And the reason why, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier there, but the reason why I like using the wire rack instead of paper towels is, with the wire rack, they won't sweat, they won't become soggy like if you put it onto paper towels. So that is my reasoning. Anytime I fry chicken, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would have known I've mentioned that before. So I'm just going to put in the second batch now and let these sort of relax here and drain off that extra fat and stuff like that. And if you need to do these in 3 batches, by all means do so. This wok is fairly big. So with 2 kilos of chicken wings, they work in here perfectly. I'm gonna give them a little stir after I put them in, just so they don't stick to each other. Because remember, we coated them with that cornstarch. As that second batch fry off, let's run through the other ingredients here we'll be using. I've got a medium onion sliced thinly. I've got about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic. That garlic that you saw me use earlier, I went and I got some more. We got some garlic minced up, some more of that sort of rough ground black pepper, 2 scallions, some thyme. Now this is a Trinidad Moruga scorpion. I might not able. You see that heat? Now if you're able and you like your real pepper wings, by all means chop that up, toss it in there. But I do have 2 Scotch bonnet peppers there, and here these bad boys, not so much about heat but a different flavor profile. And I'm telling you one thing, the green pepper will give you a different profile as far as flavor is concerned as the red one. So that is the sort of other ingredients we'll be using. I thought I'd share a tip with you. The reason why I like doing this dish outside, any pepper dish, is because that fumes, it's gonna choke you. You're gonna put the fan on in your kitchen, you gotta vent the kitchen, open up the windows and everything else. So it is summertime, it's scorching hot, we're outside. Why not do it outside? Plus, and this is a serious plus, you're not trying to have all your clothing, your furniture, your curtains. Mommy would get vexed if your curtains smelling like fried chicken. No, we don't want that, so that's why we outside. You ain't trying to go to the mall and next people like, hey, oh, he's smelling like KFC, so boy. No, 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 no. That is not a cologne, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just in the process of pulling out the second batch of wings now. It's now time for the pepper part of the festivities. And what I have here is a nice white pot, nice and heavy. Can take the jamming. Jamming. So anyhow, I've got about 5 tablespoons of that same oil that we fried the wings in, and in goes the onion. I'm gonna give that a quick stir. Turn my heat down to low because I don't want to burn anything. We want to just flavor that oil, and this low. We're gonna add back all those flavors. Now remember, we are repeating flavors. If you notice, in that brine, we had the garlic, we had the pepper, we had the salt, we had the black pepper and all that stuff like that. We are just repeating the same flavors in here to sort of maximize the flavor of the pepper wings. I'm going to go in with some of that fresh thyme in there as well. Again, repeating the same flavors that we started off with. We ain't trying to stray too far with the flavor profile. Remember, we turned that heat down to lower, so all that garlic is going in there. The scallion and the Scotch bonnet pepper. Everybody making an appearance in the dance now, because at the end of the day we're hungry and we're trying to get that pepper wings on. The other thing I like doing is I'm just going to give this a little crack. Pop that in there. Crack. Pop that in there. Now mix that up because we want everything to soften up. We want those flavors to start flavoring that oil. And then the last 2 things we'll do, we'll toss the wings back in here, giving you that vibrancy, that pepper. And then we're gonna finish with that black pepper as we did in the brine. It's been about 4.5, almost 5 minutes since we started with that onion and pepper and everything in there. So this is where our wings is going to make back another appearance into the dance, like so. And now it's a matter of tossing the wings in that fiery garlic goodness on the bottom that we created there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call pepper wings. Now, we still have one more ingredient to go in there, and it's a key ingredient in my humble opinion, simply because it's all about the flavor profile, and Uncle Chris wants to choke bad out here, boy. I can just imagine the neighbors and them probably have on mask, or anyhow, they wearing mask because of the vid. Anyways, so we ain't stress. Now, remember that cornstarch that we coated the chicken wings in before we fried it? This is where that's going to play a huge part, because it's going to soak up all that peppery oil that we created there. Here's where I go in and now with that coarse black pepper. And 2 minutes later, everything warmed through, everything soak up, and you're done. Yeah, man, you're done. Pepper wings to the extreme. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Now you know how to make your very own pepper wings. You can control the amount of pepper you put in there, the heat level. Like I said, if you wanted to put that scorpion in there, you put that scorpion in there. If you don't and you don't like the heat too much, well, you can cut back. If jalapeno is your thing, do rock jalapeno. If habanero is your thing, yo, rock that habanero. Anyhow, gone. Take it easy, all right? What's up, soldiers? Don't forget to click subscribe. If you've already clicked subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. I want to all you missing out on the new videos, man. Come on, click. What's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Saturday afternoon, about to do some curry stew chicken wings. Yes, it's an older recipe that I'm just doing over. The first recipe was shared about 6-7 years ago, so it's old, man. Not even high definition. So today's recipe, curry stew chicken wings. If you've seen it already, carry on. You don't have to watch it. Oh, it's a pleasure to have you guys here, man. Vibes it up. I went through the Hamilton Farmers Market and I have a poultry lady there that I deal with. And I came back with 3 pounds of grain-fed, free-range chicken wings here. It's nice and clean and trimmed and everything else. So the first thing we've got to do is to season this. And we're going to start off with some salt. Ooh, almost missed it there, boy. Some black pepper. Some Lee & Perrins Worcestershire. Lord, look how I get sponsorship money from Lee & Perrins now, boy. An entire Scotch bonnet pepper. I like this. A little bit spicy, seeds and everything. You can cut back on that if you don't have Scotch bonnet pepper. You want to use a habanero or jalapeno or any sort of pepper with a bit of a kick to it. You can certainly do that. Caribbean green seasoning. All the ingredients I use here today in the specific quantities will be listed down below. Now remember, I said this is an old recipe I did maybe 6-7 years ago. So you would find it already posted on CaribbeanPot.com. Maybe a little bit different. I've got some scallions, 2 scallions, but I'm going to reserve that for later. And I've got some fresh thyme. We're going to use that soon. Don't fret. Angostura bitters. You know, sometimes we have that Angostura bitters. This one here is probably been sitting in my cupboard for a good 15 years. I only use it sparingly. And it's a great way to use it, like I said, if you have it in your cupboard there. A medium onion, half of a medium onion diced up. And if you're wondering, the Caribbean green seasoning is just a combination of garlic and ginger and herbs that we puree and we keep in the fridge for when we're marinating meats and vegetables and stuff like that. I'll have a link for that down in the description down there. Tomato. Yeah, we're not people complaining about a tomato, but trust me, that there, the acidity plus it will help create that lovely, nice and thick gravy near the end. You're gonna thank me for that one. And I know the ketchup police then will come out and start blah-blahing. You know, this is my dish all on the backside. Don't put it if you don't want. A little bit of ketchup in there. I'm gonna stir that and then I'm gonna allow it to marinate. Couple hours. I'm not hungry. Going straight away in the pot right now. You know, I just realized something. I was about to mix it up when I realized something. 2 things. One important, one not so important. If you've got ginger, grate some ginger in there. Man, that's going to add some wicked flavor to it. And I did say curry stew, but I forgot to add the curry powder in there. And this is my homemade curry powder. I'm going to go in with a dose of that in there. Now is when we're going to mix it all up and allow it to marinate. I can't believe I forgot the curry powder, mama. Yo, what's going on with me, boy? I'm really hungry. In my pot here, I have a heaping tablespoon of brown sugar and about 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil. The oil isn't necessary, but I like using it still because that's the way I was taught how to do it, right? But you don't necessarily need that vegetable oil. All we're looking for here is this to go bubbly and frothy and then go amber in color. And this is where we're going to get that sort of stew or that brown stew. I still don't understand why people call it brown stew. It's not as if we have a green stew or a pink stew or anything like that. You really want to be faster. My heat is on high. You may want to turn on the fan in your kitchen on or open up the windows. It will get smoky. And there's where we're going to start adding the pieces of seasoned chicken wings. This is the stew part. The curry part is going in soon. Don't let it go black. As soon as it gets to that color there, you're going to start adding the pieces of chicken. Halfway through adding, give it a good mix. Yeah, piece of that Scotch bonnet pepper was introduced to that hot oil there. Ooh, causing problems. In the same bowl here, you'll notice there's still some marinade there. Add about 1.5 cups of water and then swish it around. Put a lid on this now and bring it up to a boil, it will release its own natural juices, and that is exactly what we want. It's been about 3 minutes. It's already come up to a boil. I'm going to give it another quick stir. And remember what I said about that tomato and everything else? Yo, that is where that gravy is going to come from. So loud stoops for anybody complaining about me, my tomato, and my ketchup. Trust me on that. I'm going to turn my heat down now to medium, put the lid back on it, and let that go for about 10 minutes. Just going to make sure and stir this really well. And for this next step here, I get a lot of questions from people asking, Chris, why do you burn off all the liquid just to add back more liquid? And that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to crank up my heat back up to high. We want to burn off as much of that liquid as we can. And the reason being, 2 reasons. 1, it's going to add some extra color to the chicken. And 2, it's going to intensify the flavor of the chicken. That curry and the stew is really going to intensify in there. Then the liquid, the final liquid we're going to go in there with is to braise it and make it, nice and tender. So lid off, heat high, keep an eye on it, burn off all that liquid. So you can see most of that sauce or that liquid is gone now. All we have is that thickness from that we started off with there, and that is because of the onion and tomato and curry powder, everything else. We're going to end up with a lovely gravy, trust me on that. So here's where we're going to go in now with that water. Give it a little shaky shake. You want to scrape down the sides a little bit. I know people will complain about the metal spoon, but again, my recipe. We're going to top it up with that fresh thyme there. Now here's the thing. In my green seasoning, there is scallion, there is fresh thyme, there's parsley, shadow benny, all kind of niceness in there, but I like adding that extra fresh bit of herbs when doing this. We're going to bring this up to a boil and then let it go at a rolling boil, because remember, it's just chicken wings. They don't need to cook for that long. It's been going now for about 10 minutes, and what I forgot to mention to you all, I had the lid on there, but it's slightly ajar, so which means there's a space for all that steam and liquid to burn out. Just going to give you a little zoom in there. Gosh, it's looking good. And you can see the gravy is nice and thick now, as I told you it would be. I'm going to give it a quick stir. Chris here at CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. Here is where we're going to go in with that scallion that's all chopped up. I'm going to turn off my stove. I'm not trying to thicken this up too much. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. It was an older recipe we did maybe 6-7 years ago, but yo, it's still a classic. Trick to making these chicken wings are to brine them, but we don't want to brine them for too long, maybe an hour or so tops. In here, in this bowl, I have 1 cup of warm water, and I'm starting with warm water, but we're going to add cold water to it after, because we can't use a hot liquid on that chicken, bacteria and all kind of thing like that. And the reason why we're using warm water to start, I'm going to go in with brown sugar and salt. I'm using sea salt, but you can use any sort of salt that you have on hand. And one of the reasons why I say don't brine it for too long is because the chicken wings are relatively small when compared to like a thigh or a leg or chicken breast. It will absorb a lot of that salt, so we really don't want that happening. And in using this warm water, it means the salt and the sugar would melt relatively quickly. Just want to dissolve everything. And while I'm still working with this warm water, I want to go in with the fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme and you want to use dried thyme, that is cool. And the reason why I'm tossing it now while the water is still warm is because it's going to help sort of waken up the sort of nice herbal elements of that. Give that a quick stir. I'm going to go in with more cold water now. That's going to really drop the temperature really fast so we can use this brine right away. A few more ingredients to go in there. I'm going to go in with some granulated garlic powder. Just give that a quick little mix there. A good dose of black pepper. And if you got freshly grated black pepper, you can use that. If you don't have granulated garlic, you can also go in with a couple cloves of fresh garlic that's just crushed. Some onion powder. And this is all the seasoning as well that we're going to be using for those chicken wings. And for a gentle kick, I'm going to go in with 2 of these bird's eye peppers. I'm just going to give them a rough chop. And that is totally optional. You don't need to give it that kick if you don't want to. And nobody ain't trying to get you to go out and look for any exotic ingredients if you don't have to, right? All we're going to do is give that a good mix. Make sure it's nice and cool though. If you need to put some ice cubes in there, go ahead and do so. And all you would need to do now is to pour this over your cleaned chicken wings. I have about 6 pounds of chicken wings there that I'll be using. Here are my cleaned and prepared chicken wings. I left the tips on. I was too lazy to trim them off, but if you wanted to trim your tips off, you can just cut it off and discard this. Some people find it tasty. We'll see. One thing I must stress when making chicken wings, please go through it after you get it from the butcher or the grocery store or whatever. There still may be feathers in there, and nobody ain't trying to get feather when they eating chicken wings, right? As a matter of fact, that's one of the biggest no-nos. If you're ever serving Caribbean people, do not let them find a chicken feather in there. I'm just going to go in, work that with my hands. You don't need to see that. Put some cling wrap over it in the fridge 1 hour. Make sure you toss it around nicely in there though. After an hour, what we need to do now is to drain this, rinse it thoroughly with cool water to get rid of most of that salt on the chicken, and then drain it, pat it dry. You really want it dry because the step after that, we're going to deep fry them in vegetable oil. So here we go, it's been rinsed and it is air drying right now in this wire drainer here. What I'm going to do too is, before, I'm going to maybe do batches of 5 or 6 wings at a time in frying them. What I will do is take paper towels and I will dry it off before I add them to the hot oil. Basically all you're doing is adding them to the hot oil. Be careful when you add it in there. You don't want any sort of moisture jumping, that hot oil jumping back at you. Give it a stir. I have it on a medium-high heat, and we're going anywhere from about 10 to 15 minutes. Occasionally, I'll put them in there. It's been about 12 minutes, and you can see it's already starting to take on some color. And that is what we're looking for. We really want this to be nice and golden and that skin all crispy, as I said. And because we use that brine, it's going to be nice and moist on the inside as well. So these got to keep going now. I say another 5 to 7 minutes, closer to 20 minutes in total, I'll be honest with you. I think I said 10 to 15 earlier, but you really want to go closer to 20 minutes. These are just about good, nice golden color, if you can see that there. Nice and crisp on the outside. I have a sheet pan over there with a wire rack on it, and I'm just going to put them on there to drain. And I don't like putting it on paper towel because I don't want it to go soggy where it's laying flat on that paper towel. So I'm just going to continue frying these up here. Now, and here's the thing. If you wanted, you can certainly dust them with some sea salt right now, or your favorite Himalayan salt, or just your regular salt. Because I had so much salt in that brine, and I'm trying to cut back on the amount of salt that I use, I will not be salting this further. I will just be serving these with some of that mango habanero sauce I shared with you the recipe quite a while ago. Continue frying here until we're all done. Just grabbing out the last batch out of the frying pan here, the wok. And I use a wok, maybe I didn't mention that earlier. I use a wok because of the high sides. Tends to have less work for me to clean up the splashing on the stove and stuff like that. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. Remember to check out at the end of the video, I will have the link to the mango habanero sauce. Please allow them to cool before serving. The last thing you need to do is to burn yourself, your mouth, whatever. Greediness has caused that though. I would say if you guys want to request a recipe, you can always catch me on Instagram, as I said, or on CaribbeanPod.com. I've got to season the chicken wings, and I've got about 3 pounds of chicken wings here. All the ingredients we used today will be listed down in the description of the video, as well as you can go on CaribbeanPod.com to get all those ingredients. I've got here about 3 pounds of chicken wings. They've been trimmed. The sort of pointy parts, I already removed those. I'm going to make a stock with that later on, so nothing is wasting. To that, I've got some chopped thyme. Wow, I lost it for a second there. Some scallion. We're going to go in with a big pinch of salt. Some fresh ground black pepper. And lastly, I've got here half of a lime. If you don't have lime, you can certainly use lemon juice, but just going to bring everything together. That citrus is going to really be nice. And I also wash the chicken pieces, as with most of the meats that I use, and this is just the way we do it in the Caribbean, with some lime juice and water, drained it. What I'm going to do now is toss that and set it aside to marinate for about 15 minutes. As the chicken pieces marinate, I have here a small saucepan on a medium heat, and I'm going to go in with mango nectar. And again, all the ingredients will be listed down below, and this is just the brand that I'm using. I've never used this brand before, but giving it a try, I guess. I'm going to need a couple cups of that mango nectar, so I'm just going to go in with a little bit more. And to give it that lovely kick that we're looking for, Scotch bonnet pepper, guys. No seeds. Well, there's a couple seeds in there, but if you want to avoid the raw heat, don't use any seeds. And that's a whole pepper after seeded and chopped up finely. And we really want to bring that up to a boil, but before we do, I'm just going to go in with a little pinch of salt. Give that a quick whisk. Bring that up to a boil and let it reduce for about 5 to 10 minutes or so. It's reduced now by about a third or so. So we're going to go in with a few more ingredients to bring this all together. And if you know anything about buffalo wings and the way they do it, there's always a butter element to it. So I'm going to go in with some butter, some melted butter. Give that a quick whisk. I've got some cornstarch. And if you want to use honey, you can certainly use honey as well. I just like the difference with the cornstarch. And to bring in some more of that lime that we marinated the chicken wings with, I'm going to go in with just about a teaspoon or so of lime juice. Give that a quick whisk. I'm just going to let that go for another 4 minutes or so, just to all come together. All come together nicely. Here's the thing, guys, if you don't have access to habanero peppers or Scotch bonnet pepper as we used here, by the way, habanero peppers will give it a lovely fruity element as well too. Use your favorite hot sauce. I mean, they say something like Frank's or anything like that you can use. I just don't like the acid in that. Or your favorite Caribbean style pepper sauce. I'm just going to turn that off now, and we're going to go outside and grill those wings. Yeah, guys, one thing when you're working on the outside here, you're dealing with the elements. So I got a short break in the rain here. So let me just quickly go through what I'm doing. Propane grill, 375 degrees. It's about a medium heat. And I'm just going to grill these off as I would normally grill chicken wings. So you're looking at about maybe about 25-30 minutes or so, flipping them on each side. And all you want to do is just keep rotating them on the grill here, flipping them over, because I want them to cook evenly all the way through. And these lovely little char marks is just exactly what we're looking for. That's going to add so much more flavor to this. It's unbelievable. Just going to continue flipping these guys here. And this, as in my case here, I know there's certain spots on my grill tends to be more hot than the others, so that's why I'm rotating them as well as I go along. The wings are fully cooked now, so it's important that the wings are fully cooked. And what I have here is 3/4 of that lovely mango sauce that we made. It is very spicy. I tried it already. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the wings off here, dump them in there, let them do a little dance, and we're going to bring them back onto the grill just to char up a little bit more. And the reason why we're going to put it back onto the grill is to let this mango sauce act almost like a barbecue sauce. So it's really going to stick on there when it goes back into the heat, onto the heat. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but you can do these in your oven, 375 degrees. I would just cook these chicken wings down in there. Line a baking tray with parchment paper, or if you're using tin foil, drizzle on some vegetable oil, let it roast off in there, then dip it into the sauce as we're doing here. And you can hear that nice little crunch from that loveliness from the cooking on the grill. So all we're doing now is putting them back onto the grill, as I indicated earlier. We really want these. The extra mango Scotch bonnet sauce is there. These wings are all dressed up and go. You can serve it with some. We'll start off by making the marinade, and we want to use half of the marinade on the chicken, and then half we're going to reserve for making the glaze. Later on, we'll need some more ingredients for the glaze. We'll need some rum. We will need some pineapple juice. But for now, let's focus on that marinade. And I have got the juice of 2 limes. I've got 2, 4, 5 cloves of garlic, a fresh pineapple. If all you got is the canned stuff, I mean, see, that's all you got to use it, right? I've got some raw honey, some golden brown sugar. I've got here Scotch bonnet pepper, 2 shallots, some coconut milk. I'll need some salt and black pepper. And this here is store-bought jerk marinade. There's no reason to go out and make and get all them ingredients for making that marinade. The stuff from the store, your favorite one will work. This one is very spicy, but I'm adding some more pepper with the Scotch bonnet pepper. So be mindful, some of these store-bought marinades, jerk marinades can be a bit spicy, so be careful when you're working with that. The sort of sweet elements here, along with the coconut milk, will help balance things off. Irene? Irene. You'll need a food processor or a blender. Yeah, Polly Zaire is trying to make an appearance in our video as usual. Small thing, we got that brown sugar into that food processor. I've got that coconut milk into that food processor. That jerk marinade, like I said, straight out of a bottle. Very spicy and it's loaded. Now if you really like the enhanced flavors of allspice, you can certainly add some more allspice in there. I've got that garlic that's going in there. We've got that honey, that lime, that shallot. So pretty much I'm just going to give the Scotch bonnet a nice little rough chop. Remember, most of that heat is where the seeds are and that white membrane there. I want that heat, but if you're kind of shy with the heat, I mean to say, don't put it in there, right? In goes that honey. Just gonna scrape that honey in there. And it's all about balance. And the honey, like I said, is a raw honey. If you have any sort of flavored honey you want to try, I collect honey. So I have quite a bit of different types of honey that I try from time to time. If you wanted to add some maple syrup, if you're Canadian based, you can certainly do that. Then we're gonna go in with that lime juice. We're just gonna cut those, and all I'm doing is giving it a little roly roll here, and that helps me to juice it easier. Yeah. That juice is gonna go in there. And with the shallots, it's just pretty much pretty much a garlic flavored onion, to be honest with you. So if all you have is onion, you can certainly add the onion in there. Use what you got. Now, if you are on a gluten-free diet, you may have to make your own jerk marinade, because a lot of jerk marinades, one of the base ingredients is soy sauce. Of course, you can't use that, right? So you want to use some like tamari or something like that in there. In goes the shallots, 2 of them. So off camera, I'm gonna juice the lemons, and right after that, I'll show you now how to take this juicy, ripe pineapple apart. So let's focus on that now, yeah? That pineapple chopped up, all we're gonna do now, the reason why we chopped it up and record it is because we want all that juicy pieces. The core, to be honest with you, it's a bit fibrous, so we really don't need that in the mixture. The one thing I must mention about pineapple, if you're not familiar with it, it's great for marinating and breaking down meats as well too, and that is why you see a lot of pork dishes with that pineapple, yeah? We need some salt and some black pepper. And it's just some sea salt I'm using. Be mindful that jerk marinade that you choose to use could be high in sodium as well. And we're good now. Let's blast that. And there we go, we've got that lovely marinade now. In my bowl here, I got between 3.5 to 4 pounds of chicken wings, and they've already been split. So we've got a drumette, and we've got the flats. The sort of tips, or the wing tips, have been, well, it didn't come with them. It's already been prepared. That's how I bought it over at the Costco. And the wings there, it's a really good price. I'm not a fanboy for Costco, but when it comes to buying wings, that's where I usually go, because they're air chilled and not water chilled as well. So they've been clean. I'm from the Caribbean. I wash my chicken with the juice of a lemon and cool water, drained it, and that's what we have here. Now what we're going to do is pour in half of that marinade that we made, and we're going to reserve the other half. That's a big chunk of pineapple just went in there, boy. But we're going to reserve the other half for making the glaze later. Now I'm going to go with my hands, and I'm going to really massage these wings with that, but I want you to be mindful of a couple things. One, we added a Scotch bonnet pepper in there, so it will be spicy. And I know for a fact that the jerk marinade that I use, the store-bought stuff, is very spicy. Wear gloves, or just, you know, with a spoon or tongs or something, you can do that. So all we want to do now is let that sit in that marinade. That's going to do all kind of niceness happening in here. That's going to just, it just flavors for weeks, man. Not even days, flavors for weeks. But we're going to let that marinate for about 2 to 3 hours, all right? And I've got a nice hot grill, but what I'm doing is I'm putting it way above the source of the heat, because I don't want to burn these. Remember, we got a lot of sweet stuff in here, that sugar, that honey, that pineapple. All those things will want to burn. And the other thing I want you to pay attention to is these wings are skinny because they're flats and drumettes already cut. So chances are they may slip through the grate. So just be careful when you're putting them on. Last thing you want to do is lose one to the barbecue gods, you know what I mean? And I'm doing this on my propane grill. If you wanted to do this on a charcoal grill, I would just suggest doing it not over direct heat. That's the only sort of tip I would give you here today. And what I'll do is, after I put them on, I'm just going to hit them with a little bit more of that same marinade that we marinated it in just to keep it nice and moist and juicy on the grill here. Yeah, I'm gonna turn the lid down and let that go low and slow. So it's about, I'm gonna keep my grill, see, we almost lost one there. I'm gonna keep my grill around 300 degrees or so. Got all the wings single layer all on top of that grill there. I'm gonna cover it and allow it to cook low and slow. We want them to be nice and juicy and not to dry out. And you'll notice at the very top, I put some of the remaining marinade on there. Whatever is left back, I'm putting that in the rubbish, because that's been contaminated with that raw chicken. And in case you guys are hearing that noise, if we look over there, oh, look who it is. Polly, Zaire, are you going to say hello, Polly? Or are you just going to be noisy in the videos? Yeah? Alright, partner. You do your thing. You be you. If you recall, we reserved half of that marinade, and that is what I'm bringing up to temperature here. I have it on a medium flame, and to that we're going to add a few things. We need some more brown sugar. We need some tomato ketchup. And we need a couple more ingredients. One of them being pineapple juice. That is going to enhance that whole pineapple thing. And a couple more ingredients again, actually. Going with a bit of grated ginger in there. Not too much, but just to brighten everything up. Gonna whisk that together. And what we're trying to do now is reduce this by considerably, by about 75%. So I'm going to bring it up to a boil and allow that to reduce down into a lovely sauce. But before we finish off here, the key ingredient, that key ingredient has to go in still. Let's check that key ingredient. Yeah, well, a lot of people, they go for the Hennessy, and everybody giving Hennessy love when it comes to the chicken wings and all kind of stuff like that. But I'm from the Caribbean, man, which means I'm looking for rum. Let's see what they got. Oh, we got the Ray and Levy down there. We got the Bacardi, Captain Morgan. We got that Kraken. We got that Appleton Estate. We got that Mount Gate. Yeah, I'm from the Caribbean, 100%. Proud Caribbean boy. So you know rum's got. Hey, you see that there? You see that there, my guy and his brethren, and them will know what I'm talking about. So let me grab a rum now and go and make this thing. Yeah, if you've never been to a liquor store in Canada, well, now you've been. And I settled for the El Dorado 5. Just gonna crack that open, and you don't want too much. Well, about half a cup of that nice brown, dark aged rum. El Dorado whole and solid, yes? Now is where we're gonna reduce that down. The wings are fully cooked, but I'm waiting for that the sauce that we're gonna dress it with to reduce just a bit more. So what I did was I removed it off the grill. I have it in the bowl where I'm gonna mix it with the sauce. Then we're gonna finish it right back on the grill for a few minutes, just for that sauce to stick on it and tighten up. But for the most part, it took about 25 minutes in total for the wings to be fully cooked to the where I want it to be, with a bit of, that charred bits and everything that you see in there. That is what jerk is about. I kid you not. Now that sauce has been going for about 25 minutes now, and you can see the level where we started off at compared to where it's at now. So it's reduced by quite a bit. I'm just going to give it about 5 more minutes just to thicken up just a little bit more. That finishing sauce is exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to pour some on here. I'm going to toss the wings in that now. The rest of it I'm going to reserve for serving. You can also keep this in your fridge. It will last in your fridge for a couple weeks at least, man. And just be gentle, because remember, this is hot, yeah? Just flip it around. Plus, the wings are fully cooked, so they may want to break up on you. 10 minutes on the grill after I added that wicked sauce. And Uncle Chris, ladies and gentlemen, gives you, we've got pineapple, rum, jerk, chicken wings. What we've got to do is to make a brine. And the brine will do three things. One, as it grills on the barbecue over there, it will keep it nice and moist on the inside. Two, it will infuse a lot of salt into the actual chicken, so you get the flavor all the way through. You know, sometimes you buy wings or you buy chicken or something, and most of the flavor is on the outside. This brine will help go deep into the chicken wings. And three, it's going to add really nice flavors, overall flavor from the inside. So you got all that flavor on the inside, and then we got that barbecue sauce on the outside. Got some garlic, some granulated garlic, salt, and a good brine always has salt and sugar. I like using golden brown sugar. That's just my take on things. And I have it in a big bowl here. I'm just gonna give that a little whisk. The little secret ingredient, some Caribbean green seasoning. If you're unfamiliar with that, that is just a blend of the herbs that we like using in the Caribbean. There's a recipe on CaribbeanPot.com, and there's a recipe on ChrisDeLaRosa.com. We've got here a couple bay leaves, and one final thing, just for a little kick, a green Scotch bonnet pepper. Totally different flavor profile than the ripe stuff. Now, if you don't want that heat, because it will give it some heat and a little bit of kick, you can certainly leave that out. I'm just adding some black pepper in there. I'm gonna break that up a little bit. And then in goes cold water, ice cold water as a matter of fact. Give that a quick stir. All the ingredients I use here today will be listed down in the description of the video. You want to make sure the sugar and the salt dissolve. So if you wanted to start off with a little bit of room temperature water, that's fine. It's just you're going to have to add some ice to this to cool it down after, because we want a cold brine. When we don't want anything that will help to support or promote bacteria growth once we start brining the chicken. Here I have about 5 pounds of chicken, and we've got the drumettes and we've got the flats, nice and clean. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to give that one more quick stir, and we're going to pour that brine. Make sure it covers the chicken. Just going to give that a mix, make sure all the pieces are under that brine there. Tuck those bay leaves under. And what you want to do, in my case here, I'm going to brine this for 2 hours. Then we're going to drain it, rinse it off, and then go onto the grill. If you wanted to do this overnight, I'm going to say the power is in your hands. I just find that after a couple hours, maybe 4 hours, it works for me. But again, overnight is quite fine as well. In the fridge, it's important that you keep this thing chilled. We don't want to promote any sort of bacteria growth, right? I'll just quickly explain what I got going on here. On the bottom I have charcoal. On the top there I got some hardwood, and I'm trying to combine hardwood and charcoal for flavor and to get a sort of an even heat going. You can see that flame. It's burning down. I want to burn that down though to create charcoal. Then what I'm going to do is, over there I've got some cherry wood. Now I'm not going to soak the cherry wood in water as I usually do. I'm going to put a dry piece of cherry wood after this is all flattened out and comes to coals, and that is how we're going to get a sort of a hint of cherry smoke into the chicken wings. So while it's saucy, while it's sticky, we want that little bit of smoke, and there's a hint of smoke. We just want to kiss it with that smoke. Nothing too powerful, because at the end of the day we want to taste wings, and more wings than smoke, right? Quickly show you all the setup here now. So we've got that main fire here. Here's that piece of cherry wood. Ooh, it's a scorching fire. It's about 375 degrees right now. And I've placed the wings away from it, so it's indirect at this point. Now here's the thing. At one point, once all this fire dies down here, I'm going to move the wings over here because I don't want them cooking for too long. As I said, I just want to give it a kiss of that smoke, make sure it's cooked all the way fully through. And because of that, Brian, we will get a nice juicy wing on the inside. But for now, indirectly away from the heat source. Now, keeping in mind that hot air rises, my grill is about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't mind what that says there because I had it open and kind of cooled down a bit. Keeping in mind that hot air rises, what I did was I moved it after 15 minutes on being on this side away from the direct heat. I've moved it on the top grill now, so when the heat rises, it goes across and it goes up the chimney over here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but now is where we're going to start getting color and all that niceness. Let's move it in. Got some guys doing some roofing work across the street there, but as you can see, it's starting to develop some color directly over the heat. Here's where you want to pay attention to it and rotate them. I don't anticipate them being on there for much longer, maybe 10 minutes. And then I'm going to put them directly, low down on the coals here. You're looking, wow, it is hot there. It is about 4 or 5 inches lower down. My chicken wings are directly over the flame now, and I mean lower, on the lower shelf. And all I'm doing now is adding my favorite barbecue sauce. Not a recipe for a lovely barbecue sauce. Check out CaribbeanPot.com. Remember earlier this year in this series, I shared that cherry rum barbecue sauce, so that's something you may want to try as well. And to be honest with you, I like to give it about 3 or 4 coats of this barbecue sauce. I'm going to turn them over. Remember, you want it sticky and saucy and juicy. And that is how you're going to achieve all those things with these grilled chicken wings that we've done here today. And the sort of last little tip or trick, there's a nice caramelized color we get on there, nice and sticky, as I promised you guys. The last little tip I'm going to give you, this section here has all of the heat. So what I'm doing, since all the wings cannot fit, I saw some of these, it's on the side, and I'm just rotating them here where the heat is. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com, July month of grilling. Yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been fun. I got a couple more recipes to share with you guys, so stay tuned for that. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. And do give 3 cups of water coming up to a boil, and to that we're going to add equal parts salt and brown sugar, and that is 1/4 cup of each. I've got here some allspice berries, and all the ingredients I use here today will be posted down in the description as well as on CaribbeanPot.com. I've got here some fresh thyme, a couple slices of ginger. I'm just going to turn my heat down because I don't want this to boil. I just want it to simmer for about a minute or 2. And some scallions. That's just 1 scallion that I chopped up. The whole idea here in making this in the hot water is to help release some of the flavors from what I just added there, plus to help melt that salt and sugar to bring it all together. And one final thing, I'm going to go in with some fresh ground black pepper. And if you've got black peppercorns, you can just go in with that. I'm just going to turn my heat off now. I'm going to give that a good whisk, and then I'm going to put this in the fridge to cool because we want this cold before we put this brine on the chicken. We don't want to put hot brine on chicken. And in sometimes when you're doing brines, you may see people add ice to here. I'm not going to add any ice to this because I don't want to dilute all that niceness I have in there. Here I have 3 pounds, and this would work anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds of chicken wings. I've got 3 pounds of chicken wings here that I trimmed off and I washed with some lemon juice. And here we go. We have that brine that we made earlier. Now I said put it in the fridge to chill, But if I'm being honest with you guys, I had it outside on the porch. I'm based in Canada and it is about -1 degree Celsius out there. So, but the point is, make sure that brine is chilled before you put it in here. I'm just going to make sure and mix that up a little bit, covered with some plastic wrap, put it in the fridge 2 to 3 hours. Try not to go anything more because the amount of salt we have in there, and the chicken wings are small, so you really don't need to keep it for too long. Overnight, no. 2-3 hours and you're good. It's been in the fridge now in the brine for about 3 hours. Now, what I want to do is to bring it back up to temperature, to room temperature. So I'm just going to set it aside here while I work on the tamarind sauce for it. And here I have about 2.5 cups of water on a high heat. And this is the tamarind paste. This is how it comes in the Asian stores, the Latino stores, and the Caribbean stores. And I think many of the everyday grocery stores usually have it now as well too. And all it is, it's a tamarind paste, like so. I'm just going to open this up. And what you want to do is after you open it up, it's going to be nice and thick and sticky and everything else. And that's just about 1 cup of it. Just going to put it in that water, bring that water up to a boil, and we need that to sort of to break that down to make it into a nice tamarind liquid. As it comes up to a boil, you want to reduce it to a simmer and start using a spoon or something to break up the tamarind paste, because you need that to really melt away and combine into the liquid here. And as I do that, I'm going to go in with 2 slices of ginger, and I'm going to go in also with 3 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to smash it with the back of my knife, and I want that to infuse this base here. I just want to keep working it until you've dissolved the tamarind paste. It's been going for about 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes on that sort of rolling boil. As you notice, it's a nice thick tamarind goodness sauce going on here. What I'm going to do now is turn off my stove, and I'm going to strain that into a bowl so we can get to really intensifying the flavor of that tamarind. I've got my saucepan now on a medium heat, and over there you can see I've already strained off the tamarind. That's only pulp and stuff that's left there, but here's that lovely nectar of that tamarind. I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon of olive oil, and right away I'm going to go in with 2 scallions that I diced up, and I'm going to turn my heat down to low because I want to sweat that. I'm also going to go in soon with 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. Notice I didn't use any of the seeds because I know it's going to be terribly hot if I use those seeds. Now if you want it screaming hot, you can obviously use the seeds. Sweat that down for about 2 to 3 minutes. Next up, we're going to go in with that finely diced Scotch bonnet pepper. Now remember to wash your hands with soap and water immediately after. Turn the fan on over your stove, because with that pepper in there, I just want that to soften up a little bit. It may cause you to choke. And I do apologize if this video turns out to be rather long. I really want to explain all the steps that I'm doing here. So after about a minute after adding that Scotch bonnet pepper, I'm going to go in with some black pepper. Then we're going to go in with that tamarind. Remember, it's already infused with that garlic and that ginger as well. Give that a quick stir. We want to bring that back up to a boil because we need to reduce this down. We've got here some ketchup, just plain old tomato ketchup. And again, all the ingredients will be mentioned down in the description of the video, as well as on CaribbeanPot.com. For that sort of sweet, sticky element, we've got brown sugar. More sweetness, honey. So you're going to get the tartness from the tamarind, you're going to get the kick from that Scotch bonnet pepper, and that lovely sweet sort of barbecue kind of something from that brown sugar and that honey. We need some salt in there. And the final ingredient I have here, 2 oranges that I just sliced open like that, and I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze the juice in there for that sort of citrus kick. After about 7 minutes or so, you will notice it will start to thicken up. And what I would recommend doing here is to take out about, I don't know, maybe about half a cup or so and set it aside, because it will be a great dipping sauce if you want to just fry the wings and serve it a dipping sauce on the side. I'm going to take about half a cup out, and I'm going to continue reducing that for a little bit more. As you can see, it's almost there. It's getting nice and thick now. Here's where you're going to taste it. You're looking for 3 things. You're looking for a tartness from that tamarind, sweetness from that sugar and honey, and the spice kick from that Scotch bonnet pepper. I would ask you to taste it and adjust it with sugar. For some of you may want it more like a barbecue sauce, so you can adjust the sugar at this point. It's almost there. It's been going now for about 12 minutes. We'll give it about 15 minutes, and then we'll remove it off the stove. It's nice and thick. It's nice and thick now. All I'm going to do is just give that a quick stir, and I'm going to set it aside on the far side of the stove there, and I'm going to go on with my wok. Now, you can use a deep fryer, you can grill the wings, you can bake the wings. It's totally up to you. I'm using a wok because of that high sides, so when I fry it in that vegetable oil, chances are I won't have to clean up much of a dirty stove. Here I have the wings on paper towels, and I'm just going ahead and sapping up any sort of moisture, any sort of liquid, because remember, we're going into hot vegetable oil there. And if you notice any sort of dregs in there, it's oil that I've used before. I really don't toss hot oil all that much. But what I did was, with the wings, I drained it, I strained it, I got rid of all that marinade, the sort of herbs and everything we had on it, rinsed it out in cool water, drain it, and then pat it dry. It's important that you rinse them in cool water, because it's going to be overly salty if you don't. All we're doing now is adding the chicken wings to the oil. You don't need to season this anymore, you don't need anything else but to fry them off. You can grill them, as I said, or you can do them off in the oven, but I like frying them. Try not to overcrowd the pan, so with the 3 pounds, I'll probably make it in 2 batches. It's been about 15 minutes now, so these are fully cooked. All I'm going to do is remove them, place them on a paper towel lined drainer here, just to get rid of all that excess oil. And you can see the lovely golden color we've got going on there. And I'm going to go in with the second batch and fry those off. The wings have all fried off, and this step here, what you could do is brush the tamarind sauce over it, the glaze over it, stick it in the oven 425 degrees, and it will stick on there nicely. What I'm doing though is I'm warming up back the glaze in the same pot here, just on a low heat, just to warm it back up so it's a little bit more loose, because it will thicken up as it cools down. And then I'm going to add the wings directly to the pot here. Now, the other thing what you could do is put this in a big bowl, toss that sauce in there, and then you're good to go. But I just want this to kind of get sticky and lovely, and oh boy, it's all kind of nice. Let me just move this around just a little bit first. And you want those wings to pick up all that nice sauce that we made here, that tamarind sauce. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com, and all you're doing here now is heating this through, right? So, recipe done. I've got 3 pounds of chicken wings already trimmed and cleaned in a big bowl here. We've got to season it, because in the Caribbean we love to season. Yes, this is not a traditional Caribbean recipe, however, we're going to see different elements of the Caribbean in this. We have to season this up and let it marinate for about, I don't know, about half an hour or so. First thing first, this is going to be done in the oven. We won't be frying these, so we do want to get a nice little crisp skin. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of vegetable oil. And all the ingredients we use today will be mentioned down in the description of the video. Black pepper. And give it a nice healthy dose of that black pepper. Obviously, you're going to put as much as you can handle. I'm going to go in with salt. And you will notice that the Parmesan cheese can be a bit salty as well, so keep that in mind near the end. 2 scallions chopped up finely. I've got here half of a Scotch bonnet pepper, no seeds. Remember, when you're playing or handling Scotch bonnet peppers, to wear gloves if your skin is sort of burns fast, and to wash your hands with soap and water immediately after. Chopped finely. I have here some parsley, and I'm just going to go in with just a little touch of that. We're going to finish it off with some more of that parsley later on. And I've got here some fresh thyme. I'm just going to break off some of those leaves. Just sprinkle it on there. The whole idea here now is to give this a good mix and let that marinate for about half an hour. The next step is to get your baking tray ready. I have a wire rack under this because I want the air to circulate underneath the chicken wings to help brown them on that side as well, on both sides basically. My oven is preheating at 425, so 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to go in the middle rack in the oven for 25 minutes. So again, 425, middle rack, 25 minutes. One quick tip, I'm using a wire rack as I said, and all I did was I sprayed some cooking spray on there, or if you want, you can brush some vegetable oil. I guess I did mention we're making garlic Parmesan wings, right? So as those bad boys do their thing in the oven, we're just going to make the sort of combo that we're going to top it with to give it that nice infusion of the Parmesan as well as the garlic. I've got here 2 cloves of garlic finely chopped, and I've got some fresh Parmesan cheese that I freshly grated, as I said. All of that into a bowl. Toss that around a little bit. And I want some lemon zest to really help brighten this up all together, so just going to go in with a bit of that lemon zest in there. That's going to really help bring everything together. And finally, I've got some parsley left over from when we marinated the chicken. So all we want to do is give this a really good mix, and as soon as we take those wings out of the oven, we will give them a nice coating of this, stick them back in the oven to really infuse it with that flavor. So after 25 minutes in that high oven, 425, it's time now to introduce these to that garlic Parmesan mix that we made, and then stick them back in the oven for another 10 minutes to fully cook and to develop some color. I know they're looking a bit pale right now, but trust me, we're going to get that nice golden color in a few minutes. And because we oiled the rack on my baking tray there, you're going to notice that they come out very easily. They don't stick to the rack. I've about 3/4 of them there. And before I add any more, I'm just going to sprinkle on some of this garlic Parmesan mix that we have. Add some more on there. And the whole idea here now is to toss everything. Give it a good coat. Stick them back on the rack and back in the oven. So again, I'm just going to reserve a little bit of this garlic Parmesan mix for when I take it out of the oven. All we want to do is pretty much mix that. You need a bigger bowl, but put it back in the oven another 10 minutes, 425. The kitchen is smelling absolutely wicked. The marinade, we're going to go in with all the flavors of the Caribbean. So we're going to go in with some garlic, and you're going to need a food processor. You can use a blender as well, but I would recommend you pulse it. Don't puree, because we want this to have some consistency, some body to it. If you don't have access to a food processor or a blender, chop it up finely. A couple slices of ginger. I've got here 2 shallots. Just going to give that a chop, just to help that food processor a bit. And I've got a whack of scallions that's going in there. And you can already see where I'm going with this. It's all kind of nice flavors. Cilantro. And if you don't have cilantro, what we would typically use in the Southern Caribbean especially is culantro or shadow benny. In this case, I'm using cilantro, which is, some of you may know it as coriander. I've got some fresh parsley going in here as well. We're going to go in with some sea salt. And since we're doing chicken wings, I'm going to be kind of generous with the salt because I won't be adding any salt to the actual chicken wings. All that flavor is going in there. And I've got some nice limes. We're going to go in with some lime juice. And that's where I'm going to squeeze in some lime juice in there. So you need about 3 limes. So the juice of about 3 or 4 limes. And one of my favorite herbs to use, this is thyme, and the stems are pretty much tender. They're not tough thyme leaves. The stems are not tough, so I'm just going to go in with the stems and everything is going in there. Just pat that down a little bit. Some fresh ground black pepper. And we need some Caribbean sunshine in there. So I've got here a couple Scotch bonnet peppers, and if you'll notice, I cut out all the seeds as well as the white membrane surrounding the seeds. That's where most of that heat is going to be. I don't want that. I cut that out, discarded it. If you want that heat, you want that fire, you want that raw something, watch now. Play brave, go in with that seeds and everything else. But just remember, Chris warned you, wash your hands immediately after with soap and water to help bring everything together, to help this food processor along the way. We're going to go in with a generous dose, and I mean maybe about 3/4 cups of good olive oil. And remember, we also have the liquid from the lime juice as well. If you want, you can add some pineapple juice in here. If you want, you can add some lemon juice in there. That's totally up to you. And to help balance all those flavors, you need a sweet element. And I've got here a little bit of organic honey. Doesn't have to be organic, but that's what your boy have. All I'm going to do now is pulse that nice and thick and chunky, and then we're going to marinate. We're going to divide it. So 2/3 we're going to use on the chicken wings, and we're going to reserve 1/3 of it. When we're done grilling the chicken wings, we're going to toss them in some more of this marinade. Got that lovely marinade now, and we're going to use this to dress the wings, as I said, once they're all done grilling. So reserve about 1/3 of it. I've got my clean chicken wings, and if you want, you can put it in this big zipper bag, because we got to marinate this for a little while in the fridge. At least a couple hours overnight would be ideal. So if you want, you can put it in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to go in with that marinade in there. Now remember, we said we're going to hold back on some of that marinade as well, right? And you want to toss that in there, put it in the fridge, let it marinate overnight if you want. If you're in a rush, a couple hours, and then set up your fire outside. It's grilling time. This is my setup on my coals fire here. And if you can see, I've got a sort of an open spot there. That's where my direct heat is. Most of my flame is there, so I just want this away from the direct heat. Grill the chicken wings as you would normally grill your chicken wings. So I'm looking at about 25-30 minutes. I'm going to flip them every 10 minutes or so, rotating them from away from the fire to close to the fire and back and forth kind of thing. Put the lid on, let that go nice and slow. The coals, the smoke, the fire. Watch now. Flavors, man. In a nice big bowl here, I have the reserve marinade. So what's going to happen is, as soon as they come off the grill, I'm going to toss them in here, flip them nice and warm, so it's going to pick up all that marinade and the olive oil, the garlic, the herbs, the Scotch bonnet pepper is going to give it an extra boost of flavor on the outside. These wings are fully cooked, so I got my bowl here with that marinade, and we're just going to toss them in there, as I said. And the whole idea here now is to quickly give it a nice little mix, so on the outside is gently coated with that wicked marinade. We make the ultimate grilled chicken wings, guys. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Show some love, give it thumbs up, leave some comments below, and the actual recipe will be up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com vibes it up in the kitchen. It is July, which means it's the start of the annual. I think this is the 4th or the 5th year in a row now we've been doing the July month of grilling, and we're kicking things off with fire. Trust me, this time we're doing jerk chicken wings. I've done all kind of jerk before. We've done jerk chicken wings in the oven, but we've never done jerk chicken wings outside on that raw fire. So July month of grilling, you guys gonna love this one, man. I have some real nice things coming up with salmon, with shrimp, with chicken, pork, and I've got a vegetable something too if you're vegetarian or vegan. You're gonna like this one, man. But anyways, I mean this year of July's month of grilling. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Let's get grilling. I'll quickly run through the ingredients, but don't stress if you don't get everything. Down in the description, I will again repeat everything down there, as well as you can always go to CaribbeanPot.com for the full recipe. In a couple days after the video goes live, it's usually when I put up the recipe. We've got salt, olive oil, a couple limes. If you don't have limes, you can use a lemon, some brown sugar, fresh thyme, ginger, got some scallions here, orange juice. I love adding orange juice in there. If you don't have orange juice or you don't want to use orange juice, some lager beer, you know, man, that will add some nice flavor to this as well. Some garlic, a small onion, Scotch bonnet pepper. You can't do jerk without Scotch bonnet pepper. How much you use entirely up to you. I will probably use 2 of them with the seeds and everything because I want these wings nice and spicy. Here I have a combination of 3 spices. Here we have cinnamon, nutmeg, and here I have some allspice as well as some allspice berries. I like the combination of using both of them. We'll also need some soy sauce, and I think that's about it. We're gonna start off with those spices, the garlic, and you can smash it if you want. Now here's the thing, you can, I'm gonna pulse this, but you can make it as a pure liquid as you like. My preference is something a little bit chunky. I just like the texture and everything else of it. The brown sugar, I'm gonna go in with some salt, and this is the only salt I'll be using in the dish, so you won't see me salt the actual wings. Keep in mind, I'm using a dark soy sauce. That will also bring a salty element to things as well. So if you're cutting back on the amount of salt you use, be mindful of that. I have here the Scotch bonnet pepper. Now be mindful that the heat is where the seeds are and the white membrane around the seeds. So if you want to control the heat, you can just cut and use the pieces of flesh. I want seeds and everything. I'm bad like that. Let's go with the red one. Remember to wash your hands immediately after with soap and water. You don't want to be touching here and there with those oils on there. Now if you have sensitive skin, I would recommend using gloves. I've got that onion. I'm just gonna, and it's a small onion, just gonna go in with that. We've got all that thyme, and I just want to get the sort of tender top leaves, and I'm going to break off camera. I'm going to break off all those the individual leaves and put them in there, but the stems from the tender area is not bad. I'm going to go in with a couple slices of ginger. We've got that scallion, and it's just a matter of giving everything a rough chop just to make it easier for the food processor. You can use a blender as well. It's totally up to you what you have. Alternatively, if you don't have any, you can chop it up very fine. The orange juice, olive oil, you can use vegetable oil if you want. It's totally up to you. And I'm gonna go in with the juice of the 2 limes. Pretty much all I'm gonna do is keep pulsing it until I get to the sort of consistency that I like. Here I have about 5 pounds of chicken wings. It's just that they're a little bit tiny. That's what's on sale. I think they were $2 a pound. I'm on it trying to pay $4 and $5 a pound for chicken wings. I'm a single father, what can I say? I need my money. But anyway, small chicken wings, 5 pounds, they're nice and cleaned and everything else. And this is where now we're gonna go on in with that wicked jerk marinade that we made. I'm just gonna scrape that down. Now here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna go in there with my hands and I'm gonna play around with that. I will not recommend doing so because we've got that Scotch bonnet pepper in there. Wear gloves, use tongs, use a spoon or something, and give that a nice mix. Seal it up with some plastic wrap and in the fridge no less than 5 hours. Overnight, perfect. But please, I beg you, for full flavor, you want this to go for at least 5 hours in the fridge marinating. So here we go, it's all mixed up now. Fingers have a little tingling, I'll be honest with you. Look at that. Now that is how chicken should look when it's marinating. Plastic wrap in the fridge, 5 hours. Then we're gonna go outside on the grill and add some fire to this here, man. Flavors for days. One of the steps to making this jerk chicken wings and take it to that sort of island, sort of level that you would be accustomed to and getting in Jamaica or any of the other islands, is smoke. And here I have now, if you're based in North America or in Europe or wherever, and you don't have access to pimento wood, because pimento wood is one of the key ingredients of a good jerk. I don't have pimento wood and I'm not going to pay a ton of money online to have it shipped to me. So I have here some apple wood, and that's going to give it a nice fruity flavor once we make a smoke pouch out of it. Now, what I like doing, and this is my little tip, to get that sort of pimento flavor, I like going in with pimento berries or allspice berries in the wood. And what we need to do is to soak that for a good 4 or 5 hours. So you may want to do this if you're going to be marinating the chicken wings for that 5 hours, as I said, at least. You want to start to make that wood soak in there. I'm going to go in with a little bit more water. I'm going to tap it all down to make sure that that apple wood absorb all of that water to help with generating smoke later. If you can't get apple wood, or if you prefer mesquite or any other type of hardwood, cherry, do your thing. And I mean to say, if you have access to pimento wood, I ain't hating. The wood has been soaking and you can see it even took on a bit more size to it, and you'll notice the pimento berries or allspice berries, they've also swollen quite a bit. I have here 2 sheets of tin foil, sort of doubled over because it's not the greatest tin foil, it's not that heavy duty stuff. And what we're doing now is making a smoke pouch, and we've done this in the past. So we're going to take all of that wet wood along with the pimento berries, and we're going to sort of put it in the center like this. And I'm doing this purposely in the center. Just going to get all of the berries and everything in there. Then I'm just going to wrap it over like so, and then one more time over. Then I'm going to take this end here, bring it over, and we're going to do the same thing over here. If you want, you can crimp it. You can double it over if you want and crimp it there. So now that I have this sort of pouch, move that over. I'm going to wrap it one more time in some tin foil just to make it a little bit secure. So the sort of seam end, I'm going to put it down and come over again. Like so. Double it over. I do apologize if it's a bit noisy with the tin foil, but can't avoid that. And here's where I'm going to go now with a fork, and I'm just going to poke some holes, and that's going to help for the heat and for the smoke, once it starts burning in here, to come out and release all that goodness. I'll just quickly show you the setup and the reason why I made the smoke pouch that long, because I wanted it, pretty much the length of my grill, and I'm using a propane grill. You guys can use anything. If you have charcoal, you can do your thing. And how I'm going to do it is, I have it on a very high heat right now because I want that smoke pouch to start smoking. Once it starts smoking, then I'm going to place all the wings, wow, it's hot, on the top rack here, and allow the smoke to come from below along with the heat to sort of flavor those wings as they slowly cook. Once I get smoke, the other thing I'm going to do is turn my heat down all the way to low, because I'm going to go directly over the heat with the chicken wings, and I don't want them to burn. On that high heat, I think it's between 500 and 550 degrees Fahrenheit, I can start seeing the smoke develop there now. I'm going to turn my heat down, and I'm going to place the wings in a position to get them to start to cook. I've got the wings on a layer on top here. I've still got a few more to add on there. They're going to shrink down even more once they start cooking, so there's going to make some more room later. So don't think it's going to be too crowded. Here I have the leftover marinade, and if you're wondering what you can do, one, you can baste for the first 20 minutes or so with the marinade. Remember, there was raw chicken in there, so you want to give it a good 15-20 minutes after you've done basting. Continue cooking to make sure you cook out all the rawness. Or you can take the same marinade, add about a cup of orange juice and about half a cup of your favorite barbecue sauce, and reduce it into a sort of on a high flame, then bring it down, reduce it, and let it simmer for about 25 minutes into a nice barbecue sauce. It's been about 10 minutes now, so it's starting to take on some color and stuff like that. Low and slow, because I want this to cook all the way through and remain juicy and not dry up, kind of cardboard kind of thing, you know. It's been going now for about 35 minutes. So what I did was I moved it off from there and I brought it down now and over the direct heat. Now the smoke parcel is still giving off some smoke there, and it's directly over a heat element. The reason why I brought them down now is because I want them to develop that color and to cook all the way through the bone with the direct heat. Now here's the thing, guys, you guys can cook these wings any which way you like. It's totally up to you. Now if you don't have an outdoor grill, I would put them in the oven 400 degrees Fahrenheit, in a greased baking sheet or a line-based baking sheet, and let them roast off in the oven for a good 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of your wings. In total, I cooked these for about 50 minutes, 50 minutes. First we started off on the top shelf, then we went down here to the direct flame. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. What's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. What you're looking at is crispy fried chicken wings. Stay tuned, you're going to want to watch this video. If you watch no other video on YouTube today, you want to watch this one. And if this step looks familiar, it is because when I did the pepper wings, it's pretty much the same sort of process. We are going to brine the chicken wings. And the reason for brining the chicken wings is to give it a lot of flavor deep within the inside. That is sea salt, black pepper. I like using golden brown sugar. And then we're just going to shift everything over. We're not done with flavors yet. We are Caribbean, however, which means we love herbs and spices and seasonings. Well, no spices, but seasonings. I have here 2 seasoning pepper or pimento peppers. Totally optional. These are out of my garden. You would have seen these peppers in my gardening video that I shared with you guys a couple moons ago, maybe about a week ago or so. And just giving everything a rough chop. These have a wonderful scent, but absolutely no heat whatsoever. So the 2 pimento peppers are going in there. We need some garlic, and you can already see the sort of flavor you're going to get deep within the chicken wings. Remember, chicken wings are small, so we don't need to brine them for too long. A couple hours and you're golden. So I'm just smashing that. I've got a couple scallions here. Some of you call it spring onion, some of you call it green onion. And again, just a rough chop. You don't have to be precise about anything whatsoever, because this will go into the rubbish after. So don't feel you need to be too particular when it comes to this. Alright? We've got some parsley. Again, same idea, rough chop. I'm just going to go a couple more times like so, just to bring out the flavor, just to bruise all those herbs and bring out the wonderful flavor. I've got here a habanero pepper. I like it spicy, so I'm going to go with about half of that habanero pepper. The seeds, the white membrane around there, that's where most of that heat is going to be today, because I know the people who are eating this, they're a little bit whiny. You're going to say, oh gosh, you think too spicy, how it's so hot? No, behave yourself. So we've got that habanero pepper in there. If you want to leave that out, you can certainly leave that out. Some fresh thyme out of my garden. If you can't source habanero pepper, and the reason why I like habanero pepper in this one, and not so much Scotch bonnet, is because that habanero pepper has a wonderful fruity flavor. Just look at all that niceness in here. You can already tell this is going to be brilliant. Just look at that. Chris. You get to the answer. I have 1 cup of lukewarm water, and the reason why I'm starting with lukewarm water is to be able to melt the sugar and the salt. After that, we're going to go in with about 6 to 8 cups of cold. Yeah, that's good. That habanero pepper, boy, way no joke thing. And the reason why we would want ice cold water is because we want this to be cold to prevent the buildup or the start of bacteria. Remember, we're going in there with poultry. So we need cold water. Warm water would just, it won't be irie at all. Trust me. Here I have 5 pounds of chicken wings, air chilled. Not that water chilled stuff, the air chilled, which means it won't shrink that much when we cook it. And they've been cut into the flats and the drumettes. The tips have been removed. Well, that's just how I got it from the grocery store. I am from the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't apologize for being from the Caribbean. And one of the things my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and her mother before her, we do and we did, is wash our chicken. My chicken wings have been washed with the juice of 1 lemon and cool water. I removed any feathers I can find. Yeah, we don't like that in our food. And I drained it well. So now we have that chicken wings there. Chicken wings is going to go into this bath. This is the brine. So all that chicken wing is going to go in there. Now, I have no problem putting my hands in there. But I know because of that habanero pepper in there, you guys, I would ask you not to put your hands in there. I'm using a spoon. Oh boy, a tablespoon. Israeli people just be raising their blood pressure when they see Uncle Chris playing with a tablespoon. Why he gets it? No, behave on yourself now, gosh. That is the spoon I'm comfortable using. Anyhow, top it with some ice if you're in the Caribbean, in the tropics, and this water isn't as cold, because I get cold water to the tap here in Canada. I ain't trying to say Canada over cold, because the whole summer we've been around 35 to 41 degrees Celsius. Anyhow, back to the wings. If you want to top it with some ice, you can certainly do that. Into the fridge for 2 hours, nothing more. 1 hour into it, give it a little stir, and then put it back into the fridge. So this is the brining process. What I did was I drained it. I removed all, to be honest with you, I washed them under cool water. All of the marinade is gone. There's little specks of some seasoning is in there. That's fine. But the only other ingredient we're going to put in this right now, and you really want to dry it off as best as you can, because the more dry it is, the more sort of crispiness we're going to get. And the whole idea here is some crispy wings. To get that crisp, we're going in with cornstarch, and quite a bit of cornstarch. If you wanted to do a mixture of cornstarch and flour, you can certainly do that, but for my gluten-free people, that is all you need there, cornstarch. And I'm going to go with my hands. If you want to wear gloves, you can certainly do that, because remember we had that habanero pepper in this, so it can be a bit spicy. And all you want to do is sort of coat the chicken wings in that cornstarch. Just try and make sure, and this is why it's important that they're dry, because then it won't get too soggy. But you notice what's going on here? It's nice and dry. It's taken on that cornstarch exterior, and that's going to give you a nice crispiness at the end here when we fry them off. And to avoid that fry smell in my house, I love to fry my chicken, fish, everything that I fry, usually done outdoors, providing the weather is nice. It is still summertime here in Canada. So the little station, I've got the chicken wings here. I've got my vegetable oil heating on a high flame. And I've got a wire rack with just a drip pan on the bottom there. That is where I'm going to put the wings. Once they come off, they're going to go on there. And if you guys recall, the last time we did chicken wings, I explained to you guys the reason I like doing that instead of paper towels is because with the paper towels, where the chicken sits, it will sweat, it will go soggy. We're working on crispy wings. We don't want soggy wings. But for now, we're just waiting for the oil to come up to temperature. And I'm using vegetable oil. If you wanted to use peanut oil, canola oil, whatever oil you like frying in, you can certainly do that. The oil is up to temperature now, so I'm just tossing the wings in there. And you would, if you have a deep fryer, you can certainly use a deep fryer. I'm just using this pot because I don't own a deep fryer. But you want to have a lot of space between the chicken wings so they fry evenly. And you want them to be somewhat covered with that oil as well too. You don't want to crowd the pan. And remember, as we start adding the wings to the pot here, the temperature of the oil will drop a bit, so we got to bring back up that oil temperature. And all I'm doing at this point here is just moving them around a bit, just to make sure that the thicker pieces like this, they get dunked in that hot oil. It's been about 7.5, almost 8 minutes now, and you notice we're starting to get that golden brown color. It will darken up a bit more once you take it out of the oil, so be mindful of that. I'm going to give this another minute, and then I'm going to remove them and go in with the other batch. And notice a lovely color we got there. And like I said, it's going to darken up a little bit more as it cools down. What I like doing at this point here is I'm going to hit it with a bit of sea salt, just a tiny bit of sea salt. Nothing too heavy because remember we brined them already. And I'm going to repeat some black pepper in here as well too. And I'm just going to go and work with the other batch now. And yo, crispy fried chicken wings, man. Let me hit all that little close up now. Well, I thought I was skylocking, but look at that niceness. Ay, 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 boy. Just getting the second batch out of the fryer there. And as we did with the first batch, we're going to hit it a little bit of black pepper and a little bit more of that sea salt. And Bob's your uncle. We've got crispy fried chicken wings. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. I assure you, you want to give this one a try. It is such an easy recipe. And just look at that niceness now. Can't go wrong, boy. Irie? Irie. What's up, soldiers? Don't forget to click subscribe. If you've already clicked subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. I want to all you missing out on the new videos, man. Come on, click.